We're back with the Ask Dr. Be Good show, the show where we bring you all the neat things that are happening in public education. And one of those things is how we get our kids ready for college and career readiness. There's an art and a science to that now. It's not something that is we're able to just leave in the hands of parents and kids because, frankly, getting into college can be quite sophisticated these days, especially if parents want a chance at having low-cost college and scholarships. So we're going to talk about one of the main tools that we use to help us develop college and career ready teachers, parents, and students. And then, but first, let's introduce who we have with us. So let's go to who's in the room with us.
I'm Natasha Forge. I'm the College and Career Counselor at the Mesquite West Campus.
Thank you. And who do we have on the phone with us?
Yes, I'm Amelia Zambrano, and I'm the counselor over at the Plano campus.
Okay, thank you. And meetings are everything. We live in really a quite sophisticated school life, and maybe that's another podcast for another time, but we just don't have counselors doing guidance anymore. We have counselors who have to not only do guidance, but they also have to do things like 504 meetings and RTI, and sometimes they help us with our behavior meetings. They help us with our, sometimes our SPED meetings. There's just all sorts of opportunities for counselors' expertise to be part of what parents and administrators need to tap into. So today, though, we're going to talk about Naviance. And before we get started on that, we have a short video on Naviance that we took from their video, their website. So let's start with that.
Hello and welcome. In this video, we are going to describe what Naviance Student is and what type of features it offers our students. Naviance Student is a comprehensive college and career readiness platform that empowers students to research, plan, and prepare a pathway to success after graduation. Students will have access to a vast database of universities, colleges, and trade schools inside and outside of the United States. Furthermore, students will also have the ability to research all careers within the Bureau of Labor Statistics database. Naviance also provides 6 different self-assessments for students to take at their own pace. These assessments range from anything from personality to interest tests that will align them to a specific career or college pathway. Other features on Naviance Student include an ability to create resumes, construct a post-graduation plan, arrange a portfolio, and journal and set goals in a planner. a more in-depth look at these features in Naviance Student, please see the other videos. Thank you.
Okay, so what we have is a short video that we just watched, 2.5 minutes, that talked about a very broad overview about what Naviance is. Naviance is a college and career readiness tool that is used over a series of years, best case scenario, years, to prepare kids to develop into college and career ready students that leads them actually to the career and beyond college. And that's one of the things that I've been heard to say before. One of the mistakes we made early on in our well-meaning search to get kids to college, and I don't mean during Legacy, I mean during the last 20, 30 years, and that, what did we do to kids? We say, what are you going to do when you leave high school? We're going to go to college. Okay. Nope. That was our mistake. Our mistake was they needed to have said what career they were going to go on to, and then the next question should have been, how are you going to get there? Well, I have to go to this college or that vocational school and so forth. And so we're trying to rectify that. So Naviance is it's an awesome tool, and I know that they give strong training on this. Ms. Zambrano, since you were the last trained, and I know you both were trained, in Palm Springs, is it? You have to go to 3 days or 4 days of training?
3 days.
Miss, would you talk a little bit about the training that they give you, please?
Yes, well, actually, at the training, what was the main topics that were being addressed to the college advisors, the goal setting to help the students map out their academic and career goal setting. So they talked about different activities that they could be implemented in classrooms, and not only in the classroom but as well in at home. So it's, as you said just now, it's a family connection as well, where parents at home are also able to work with the students. So it's just mapping out the future, and and I do start with 6th grade, so it's making sure that they begin thinking about the setting goals. What are they interested? What are their hopes and dreams for the future? But make them more aware of that. But the trainings that were given out there, we would go to different classrooms, not classrooms, but conference centers, and we were like hands-on to talk about the different tasks that we could definitely assign to the students to work on. So it was a whole lot of information to explain, but much rather very powerful activities that we can implement with our students beginning in 6th grade, because that's what we start here in implementing the Naviance program.
So let's go ahead and talk about that. I'll have you talk about middle school, and then I'll go over to Ms. Forge for the high school. Talk a little bit about what happens in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. How do we do that step-by-step process to get them ready?
So personal self-interest. What do they like to do? How, what social, what are they more inclined into doing with their peers in comparison, from what are their new aspirations or what inspires them the most? So it's just about sparking up what they're more inclined into doing. So definitely, what are they going to be more interested in doing, rather than, I'm going to be stuck in a career that I'm not going to be, happy in. So they've got to be something that they love and they have a passion for doing. So that's just why the Naviance is a good way to explore the different types of careers and jobs that are out there, so that they can get a little bit of experience with that.
So correct me if I'm wrong, do they take a career interest inventory in 6th grade?
Yes, it's called self-interest inventory, yes.
And that leads
so
them...
it's a variety of questions, and it's just kind of an eye-opener of, well, you know what, I don't like too much medicine, so I'm going to, look into business, or it's just, and that's what it is, navigating through their, their interest. That's where actually the word derived from, Naviance.
Have you noticed a difference between kids doing Naviance in 6th grade versus 8th grade? Here they are 3 years later.
Well, yes, because at first it's just like goal setting, mapping out their goal, like I mentioned, but then they start working or moving into building a resume. So, they start applying for scholarships and, colleges, and here at Mesquite, I know, and at Plano, that we do college visits. So, I mean, that entails, and it kind of ties in. So they talk about the work experience volunteer services. So they start building resumes. So it gets a little bit more, interactive and, the nitty gritty. So, yeah, it just follows through grade by grade.
Do you find that Naviance is able to help deepen the discussion? I don't want to give Naviance credit that it doesn't deserve, but are you able to use Naviance to help kids think more fully through this journey?
Yes, absolutely. Because I mean, they'll find out what their strengths are, what their as when they're exploring, they do find out, well, you know what, this is what I'm most interested in. So then they start thinking about 4 years from now, 5 years from now. So it all comes together, but it really does.
Okay. So let's go on to ninth grade or to high school now.
Mm-hmm.
So they've had 2 or 3 years, and depending on when they got to us, 2 or 3 years of Naviance and College and Career Readiness focus. And so you pick them up, Ms. Forge, in ninth grade. Then what happens?
Then we began to focus on also their personality. So between their personality and their career goals, then we want them to be able to choose a occupation that they can work towards. And so that's one of the things that Naviance allows them to do. It allows them to see what their personality type is, what type of jobs they should be able to perform well in. And then as it also relates to their career, as Ms. Zambriano stated before, it kind of helps them to mesh the two so that they can find that best career choice for them.
So do you find that kids change their minds?
Yes, they do change their minds. And one of the activities that we did do, which was also part of the video, is that the students are able to search for particular jobs, and it lets them know how much they're going to make. And then after they have found out how much they're going to make, we decided they had to complete an assignment to show where they were going to live, like what cell phone they were going to have, how much money they were going to use for expenses. And then a lot of them changed their mind and said, I don't want this position. I'm going to go back and rethink that. And
So, but how do you rectify the philosophy of finding a job that you love versus finding a job that pays the bills? So does that discussion come up? And this is open to you or Ms. Zambrano.
Well, in that conversation, like I said, with that activity, it's more of, at first they were looking at it from, this is a passion of mine, and then they did go into thinking about just the money aspect. I want to find something that's going to bring me more money. And then at that point, then we start looking at different colleges and how long they're going to be in college and how long, how much the college is going to cost. Then, that conversation begins, and then there's, the students are having the discussions as well in groups, and so they're saying, really, what do I want to do? And then that's when the wheels start turning to try to determine, is it money over passion? And then at the end of the day, it's really going to be their ultimate choice at the end of, when they graduate in.
So, Ms. Zambrano, have you seen kids change their mind?
Oh my gosh, we just recently went to a field trip over a junior achievement.
Financial literacy
And,
camp, yes.
Yes. Yeah, so I heard a lot of, oh, wait a minute, what? I don't even have money for entertainment. I'm not going to be able to go watch a movie, or, I have to have a insurance. So they talked about all these other things that fall into, everyday life. So insurance, loans from the bank.
How about taxes?
From clothing to yes. And I think once they generated their budget, they had to work with their budget to fully, kind of work through it. And once they deducted all of that, they had their profession. So then they had a budget to begin with, and then deduction, after deduction, transaction after transaction. And I was like, wait a minute, what is there left? So it really, a huge eye-opening for them. So it was like, this is true life. This is every day, that's why it's important to right now to get those facts together and look into what's going to be, part of your life in the future.
And luckily,
Building those.
you're finding that out in middle school, and you're asking those questions now instead of after you've graduated high school or college, and you're asking those questions for the first time. That's what, and,
Yes.
and I'd like to think that it's a legacy thing, but let me give credit to the state of Texas. The state of Texas says that we must teach financial literacy to our
Right.
kids, and so this is why, because we want them to have those eye-opening ahas when it's still safe to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and like Ms. Forts mentioned, I mean, what phone do you want? What do you want to live in an apartment? Do you want to live in a home? What kind of car do you want to drive? These are all things that they do need to start thinking about. At this point, they did not get to choose, but that's why they're here, and that's why this program is definitely the right pathway so that they can get all this together and start thinking about that.
That's right. So, Ms. Forge, we had talked about the resume building part. Talk a little bit about that in Naviance. How does that help them build a resume over time?
I will say when I came to Lady and we were I was first working with Naviance in that senior class, they had a really hard time trying to remember all of the activities that they participated in over the years. And so starting in 8th grade, but we really focused a lot of it in 9th grade, we really want students to begin to start writing down things such as the activities that they're participating in at school as well as outside of school, any community service activities that they're participating in, because over time when you become your senior year, the students are saying, well, I don't remember what I did. I don't remember, does singing in the choir count, things of that nature. So it's something that if they begin at, that 8th grade transition into 9th grade, then they'll have it. And so colleges are asking for the resume. And then we do have some students who have decided that they're not going to go to college or a technical school. They want to go into the workforce, and it will already give them that resume that they'll need, opposed to having to try to go back and remember everything. Our goal, of course, is for all students to go to college. However, the resume building helps all students. And so beginning in 9th grade is a very good platform.
So is the resume taking over from the college essay, or do they still have to do a college essay?
No, they do have to do a college essay. So we focus a lot on applied Texas when we are applying for colleges, unless a student says that they want to apply outside of Texas, then we use the Common App. But in doing so, there are 3 essays that we do have the students write, and they write those in like the practicum class, so that we can make sure that they're proficient in having all 3.
And these are loaded into Naviance?
Well, the essays are not loaded into Naviance. Okay. They keep them on a Google Doc. So when they are applying for colleges, they can just go straight to those.
And so one of the things as a reminder to parents, because all grade parents should be listening to this to know what to do ahead of time. It's important that we help our kids think about what they can do to showcase themselves to colleges or vocational schools, because I know vocational schools also want the best kids, right? They don't want just a one-sided kid. They want a multi-dimensional kid. And so making sure that our kids apply for opportunities that are available to them along with volunteering and so forth is important. And now Ms. Zambrano, you have a young lady, for example, who, she's Annie. Can you talk a little bit about Annie and what she's going to be able to put on her resume and her essay?
Well, the National Honor Society, all those volunteer hours that, once with the resume, all those volunteer hours that she's been putting, it's going to really look really good into her,
And she's part of the
National Honor Society.
Yeah, she's also part of Van Taylor's Student Council. Congressman Van Taylor's Student Council.
Yeah, so she's an extremely excellent candidate for those scholarships, to pay off for her college, and that's one of the things that are able to search for scholarships and apply for scholarships through the Naviance program.
So it's important that we parents, we counselors, we administrators, and myself, because I get these and then I'll forward them on, that we help our kids take advantage of the opportunities that are thrown our way, and I say thrown our way because sometimes these are one-time opportunities. It's not every time that you're going to get a congressional opportunity. It depends on the congressman. If the congressman is in for a long time, maybe yes. But if the congressman is not in for a long time and then the next one comes in, we don't know what they're going to pick up and offer their kids and their constituents. So making sure that we parents stay cognizant of opportunities at work. Oftentimes, if you work at a very large company, they will offer scholarship opportunities for kids that are really showing very special abilities. And I don't mean just academic ones. I mean the well-rounded, out in the community, doing community service, serving on different committee opportunities and so forth. So
one of the things I would like to say about the scholarships as well, a lot of times parents think that scholarships are just for those students who are going to college, but then there are a lot of technical school scholarships as well.
I'll say go ahead and do your FAFSA thing. Go ahead. I know that's close to your heart. Go ahead.
Yes. And so as it relates to FAFSA, of course, Naviance also has a portal for FAFSA as well, so that the students can complete the information in there, and it checks their understanding to make sure that they understand every part of the FAFSA that they'll be completing. So that's one of the tools that they're able to utilize as well.
So can the kids open up Naviance at home and do the FAFSA with their
with their login information? They can.
Because am I remembering correctly that there's a lot of parent information that's needed on that FAFSA?
Well, what happens is usually with the FAFSA, it does link to the IRS. So that's usually that information, but then there is a parent portal in which the parent also has to create a FSA ID, and then they can go in and submit their information.
So do parents who make a decent wage, should they not apply to FAFSA?
All students should apply for FAFSA, and the reason why is because many scholarship opportunities are based on they want to know that there's a need. Doesn't mean that it's always a requirement. However, that is one of the best things to do. I know sometimes parents, just like with free and reduced lunch, they don't want to apply for it because they feel as they make too much money. However, there are still opportunities for students to receive grants, and then a lot of scholarship portals will ask if they completed the FAFSA.
Is it a law, or is it going to be a law? What am I remembering? That FAFSA will be required soon?
It would starting the 2021 school year, all seniors will be required to complete the FAFSA.
Okay, so that's coming.
Yes.
And what is the reason for that? Do we know?
I'm not really sure. I would like to speculate to say that it is because a lot of students are missing opportunities of receiving free money because of it. And I know a lot of students, they'll say, I don't want to go to like a 4-year college because I don't have the money for it. And I encourage them, even though we do encourage, going to a community college, but if you have scholarship money or grant money, then that's going to cover your 4-year stay at a university, then that's going to be even better than paying a smaller amount, going to a community college.
So oftentimes we read, and I'm sure you've heard this, you ladies, that a lot of scholarship money is left on the table.
It is left on the table, and one of those reasons is because of essays. So in some of the scholarship searches we have, there are some scholarship searches that will require no essay. And so our students really like applying for those, but the larger amounts are those that have an essay. And so that's one of the reasons that we do have them to complete the 3 essays on the Apply Texas. And that's because a lot of times you can tweak those questions because that would tweak the essay for those questions because they kind of align. And one other thing I know I heard you say a few minutes ago regarding the students. So what happens is a lot of students don't know how to boast themselves up. They don't know how to puff themselves up because they have been taught, like you're not supposed to be vain and you're not supposed to say, what I'm going to say positive things, but you're not supposed to boast yourself. But one of the things that the colleges want to know is like, what are you doing? And you do have to put yourself kind of like on a pedestal because you are doing great things at the school, and that's kind of like what they want to see because they want the holistic student, not just the student that's going to class or that's not participating in anything but making straight A's. They want the one that's participating in like being on the student council, somebody that's playing basketball, you know, something that's so holistic and not just
A well-rounded
acad-
student.
Yes, not just academics.
So, Ms. Zambrano, and let me just say, ladies, again, we don't have much time left. It's amazing how quickly this goes. What is your favorite part of Naviance?
Oh, well, I think overall is that the students are being, they're deepening their knowledge about their career interest. They're finding their career match through the Naviance program, and, you know, just to be able to see that is just so rewarding. So that would be, you know, overall.
Okay, Ms. Forge?
Mine would more so be that they're able to go in and look at different colleges and see if they're a match for their particular college. And that's one of the things that we explain. So some of them, I just want to play soccer. I want a school where I can play soccer. But what about the academics? And so, like, find a school that has the academics you want, your major and your minor, as well as the one that may have the sports that you also want to participate in. And, you know, like just that college life experience, because you will be there for 2 to 4 years, and you don't want it to be, you know, something that's mundane and where you don't want to go to class, things of that nature. So I really like how they can search the different colleges for their actual needs.
So I assume we're going to have at least one more parent night coming up for College and Career Readiness. And so can we make sure that Naviance is part of maybe a session? Now that we've talked about it, I'd love for parents to be able to at least minimum make sure that the kids have their logins, that the parents can ask them about it at home. But as always is the case, we'll have kids who just don't know. And
Right.
so we want to be able to have parents see it and get their hands on it. I went to a college night at Plano earlier this year, and we literally had parents who didn't know that we were giving dual credit, even though they'd been with us from the very first year. The kids had not brought home that information. The parents had not been reading the Wednesday packet and the information coming home. And so here they were, the kids were seniors this year, and they're just now getting interested in college and career readiness. And so let's try to over-communicate and try to make sure that parents, 6th grade, you know, have something for 6th grade, having something for high school, so that they can sense the flow, first of all, and then get middle school level information that then they can apply to high school level information when that time comes.
Okay.
Any last words on Naviance, ladies?
Well, it's a wonderful program, and it's happy that we are able to offer it to our students.
And when do we offer it? When do our students do it?
They begin in August, usually August, September, when we start our rotations, and then it just kind of like trickles through the end of the year.
So do they get it about every week in rotations?
It just really all depends. So such as the resume, we may do like they have to do a template of the resume first, and then they'll upload it. So it may be like once every, like twice a month or something like that.
All right, is that the same, Ms. Zambrano,
I'm sorry?
during rotations in Plano?
Yes, once a week.
Cool. Okay, well, I'm hoping that this will generate a lot more interest on parents' parts on asking their kids. So encourage parents and kids to look at this particular podcast so that it generates more questions and hopefully gets people coming more to our night events so that we can really answer questions one-on-one. Okay, looks like we are at the end of our time. Thank you, ladies, for coming on, and again, reminding parents of the opportunities that we have for their children. We have the dual credit that we will certainly want to offer those kids that are ready in 9th grade, and so those 8th graders this year are practicing their TSI during rotation soon so that they can take the TSI, the college readiness for Collin College and El Centro and Eastfield, and those scores at the end of this year in 8th grade will let us know whether to offer them dual credit in 9th grade.
Great.
Super. Thank you all. Have a great day, and we'll want to know more about this soon.
Thank you for tuning in to the Ask Dr. Be Good show. For more information on Legacy Preparatory Charter Schools, visit our website, legacypca.com, or call 469-249-1099. And remember to like us on Facebook, where we stream live weekly Tuesdays at 3 p.m.